need some time. So you need some time to motivate yourself in a particular direction in the research, or you can say in a particular field. So this is a time taken process. After the motivation, you can identify the broad area of the research. After you have the broad area of research, you can do the literature review. After literature review, we think we have identification of objectives. We have objectives, but in between the literature review and the identification of objectives, we think we have identification of objectives. We have objectives, but literature in between the literature review and the identification of objectives, we think we have identification of objectives. We have objectives, but literature in between the literature review and the identification of objectives, we think we have identification of objectives. We have objectives, but literature in between the literature review and the identification of objectives, we think we have identification of objectives. We have objectives, but literature in between the literature review and the identification of objectives, we think we have identification of objectives. We have objectives, but literature in between the literature review and the identification of objectives, we think we have identification of objectives. We have objectives, but literature in between the literature review and the identification of objectives, we think we have identification of objectives. We have objectives, but literature in between the literature review and the identification of objectives, we think we have collection. Like your data collection station may be near to your location or maybe far to your location. So traveling for data collection is also a part of time taking part of the thing. And data collection is also a time taking process, because when you at last when you're going to publish your research, you have to show the data, a huge data. Like if you are going to modeling something, natural things, so you have to data, you will have data, something about like if I'm talking about the ionosphere, so we need 2 to 3 years data at least to make any model. Okay, so for that time duration, you have to wait for the collection. Okay, and this is also planning that in that time what you can do. Okay, now next is methodology for the objectives. After methodology for the objectives, you have to attend conferences and workshops. Why? Because methodology of the objective, maybe I'm working on the some ionospheric study or some navigational study. In that case, we need some softwares. Okay, or you can say I'm going to make an antenna. So for that purpose, I should know the software which are capable to design an antenna. So I need some skills, and to develop that skills, we need some workshop or some conferences. So this is also time taken process. Now you will get results. Your study is completed, you have results, but can you publish these results? No, because any good journal, if you are going to publish your data or your research in reputed journal, they will ask you to validate your results. So the validation of results is required. So you have to validate your results, and you have to find out the way how can you validate your results, how to verify your results. Another thing is finding literature for validation. Like you have done your literature review in the beginning of the research. This is the literature review part at the beginning. Now you have your results, means you have completed at least 4 years, 3 to 4 years. So in this 3 to 4 years, literature is improving day by day. So now it may be possible whatever you have done is also done by any other researchers in this duration. So you have to identify that research and validate your results with that research paper. So this is also a time consuming task. Next one is publication. Publication, if you have result, you have validate, you have done your validation of your results, then you have to write your paper, and then you have to communicate that paper. So after submission of a paper in the journal, and from publication submission to the publication acceptance, there is a time. So that is the time. Maybe some journals take 3 months, some journals take 6 months, and some journals takes 1 year for the publication. And you should not submit your PhD thesis without having a minimum publication, whatever is the norms of your university for the PhD submission. So you have to write the publication, and for the writing publication you need some time. Now thesis evaluation, this is not in your hand, this is the external part, but this is also a time consuming part. And then last but not least, personal issues. Okay, so all of us have some personal issues, but we cannot consider these personal issues in our professional life. But maybe it may be possible you have a party, or you have some marriage to attend for 1 week. So this is also a loss of your time. So you have to accommodate that time in your research plan. Now, benefit of a plan in the research. So I'm taking one simple example. In every research, or every research starts with a critical literature review. This is just an example. So we start our research with the literature review. Then every research ends with the thesis, which has a chapter of literature review. Especially in Indian scenario, we have a thesis format like first chapter is introduction, second is literature review, third one is the objective 1, objective 2, objective 3, something like that. So in general, all the universities in India has a chapter like literature review. So this chapter is you have to write in the last of your research. The time gap between these two is around 4 to 5 years, because this is the starting point of your research and this is the end point of your research. So time between these two tasks is around 4 to 5 years. But if you are doing your work without a plan, then what will happen? Time gap is very large, around 4 to 5 years. You will remember only few research papers that are frequently used in your research work. It may be possible you have read out 200, 300 or 500 publications at the beginning of the research, but at the last you will deal with a few papers which are very much important in your research. So you only remember that papers. You have to do the literature review again, as you have not documented it previously, because you are not running through a plan. So you have not documented that particular literature review. So now you have to start literature review again. And literature review is a time-taking process, around 6 months in starting. So recall this 6-month data. You have to spend some 3 to 4 months. In the beginning of the research, you will not have any research paper, because in the starting point, you are focusing on the literature review and literature available in your topic or your area. So at this duration, you will not have any publication, because publication is coming after the at least your 1 year, 2 year research time duration. So this is the things which will happen if you are not planning. Now with a plan, if you have planned previously, then you know well in advance that you know the time gap is very large, around 4 to 5 years. You will done your literature review with proper documentation, because you have planned the complete research. So you will done your literature review with the proper documentation. You can communicate the review paper in any reputed journal. Then you will get one research paper in the beginning of the research. This is a very important point. In the beginning, no student will get a publication, because when he start working on the task or on the objective, after 1 year and 2 years, he will get the publication. But because by doing nothing, you will not get any publication. and you have to do the literature review. So why not you publish your literature review as a research paper? So you put the research paper. This research paper will motivate you towards your research. You can use this research paper in your thesis as a literature review. You can write the thesis at the time of thesis submission or thesis writing. You can utilize this publication as it is in your thesis. And this is the authentic document. No one will deny this to get a to come in the thesis. Okay, so what is the difference with and without plan? You can see here you have saved your time around 3 to 4 months in your research, and you have increased your research paper if you are using a plan. Now a research plan. So this is a formal research plan. I am talking about the format of the research plan. Many of the university are using the research plan as a previous pre-requirement for the PhD. So a research plan is a detailed description of a proposed study. It includes a literature review that justifies the study, its hypothesis, description of the steps will be followed in the study, information about the analysis of the collected data. The plan provides a guide for conducting the research work. Then, purpose of the research plan. A research plan serves several important purposes. It forces you to think through every aspect of the study. You have to analyze the all small and big part of your study. It facilitates evaluation of the study by you and others. Sometimes great ideas do not look great after they have been written down and considered. It may be possible you are thinking that this task is very big, and after the discussion with your supervisor and some friends, research scholars, you will get this is nothing. Okay, and sometimes it is also happen that you will think that this is nothing, but that will be a big problem in your research. So in creating the plan, you may discover certain problems. Sometimes you even don't identify the problems, but when you're planning your research, you have to identify the problems. Others too can find out some flaws and make some suggestions to improve the plan. So that is why your planning is proper documented and checked by the others. It provides detailed procedures to guide the study. The plan provides a guide for conducting the research work. Now, component of the research plan. So what will be our component to write a research plan? The general components of the research plan is title of the research, aims and objectives, then proposed mode of research, either you are going to field work, either you are going to a lab work, or you are going to basic science or allied science or engineering science or whatever is your mode. Then abstract, background of your problem, that is very much important. Why you are going to do this problem? Why you are going to do this research? So this is because of the background of that problem. Expected research contribution. This is also very important part. If you will done your problems or research, then what will happen? What is the contribution to the research community? So this is the expected research contribution. Then proposed methodology. What method you are going to use and what method you are not going to use, and if you are using a plan A or methodology A, so why you are using A? What is the limitation of the methodology A? Then activity schedule. This is the most important thing in your plan. Activity schedule. You have to schedule your all activity, either that is a small one or big one. You have to plan the activity with that time stamping. Then resources. What type of resource you need to do your project work or your research. Then of course financial requirements are very much important, as we have discussed earlier. And bibliography. Bibliography is also very much important. We will discuss in a while. So components of the research, we are going to detail the title of the research. Your title should clearly clearly indicate what your proposed research is about. This is a phase of your research. You have to choose a unique and fruitful title so everyone can understand what you are going to do and what you have done. Then the objectives. What are you trying to achieve with your research? This is your objective. What is the purpose? Are you addressing a gap in the current research? Think about the potential outcome of your research. Make sure that this is a clearly focused statement or not. Your objective should be in alignment with your title. An objective should be sequential manner to achieve your aim, means your the research question means your title. Okay, so these are the things you have to remember to choose your objectives. Now, proposed mode of research. This is likely to be closely linked to your discipline and is where you will describe the style or format of your research. Like either you are going to quantitative research or you are going to qualitative research. And also you can segregate this, like if I'm going to field work on or I'm going to a laboratory research work. So this is the proposed mode of research. Now comes to the abstract. Abstract is very important because before going your thesis in detail, everyone should read your abstract. So a brief but clear summary of what your research is about. This is your abstract. It outlines the key aspects of what you will investigate as well as the expected outcomes. It briefly covers the what, why, and how of your research. So abstract is very much important, and third point of this abstract is most important, that it briefly covers. You have to write in your abstract what, why, and how. Now background. It is time to explain why. Okay, we will discuss this why in this abstract, but in the brief, and you will give the detailed study in the background. Why are you choosing this research problem? What is the motivation of your research? Here you need to demonstrate an understanding of the current research climate for your area of interest. Okay, so background is very important because of if you are not motivated towards your research, you will not get any output from your research because you are not put your 100% in your research. If you are motivated, you can do anything. Expected research contributions. So why is your research question or hypothesis worth asking? This is important question. What will be the outcome of your research contribution? How your research is innovative and original? What impact will your research have on the discipline? This expected research contribution you have to identify, or you have to write down at the time of motivation also, because if you are doing a well done research, then what will happen if you are going to publish your research result or you are going for a grant? So that reviewer, either they are from journals or they are from any sponsored agency, they will ask these 4 questions to provide a grant, or if you are writing a paper, then reviewer will ask these 4 questions to you. That why is your research question or hypothesis worth asking? What will be the outcome of your research contribution? How your research is innovative and original? What impact will your research have on the discipline? So if you don't have any novelty in your research, so no good journal will publish your paper in their journals. Now, proposed methodology. Just provide an overview of the methodology and techniques you will use to conduct your research. Highlight why you have chosen this particular methodology, why it is most appropriate way to carry out your research, which method you will use to collect data, which material and equipment you will use, which theoretical frameworks will you draw on. It should also highlight potential limitation of that particular methodology which you are going to use. This is also important. Sometimes what we have done is we use or we accept some methodology and we write only advantage about this methodology. You have to write the limitation of that methodology also. This is also an important part. Now, activity schedule. As we have discussed, activity schedule is very much important. Activity schedule is a critical component of your research plan. It indicates the feasibility of completion of task within time frame. Consider the milestone you aim to achieve at each stage of your time. So you just break down your title in the objective, then objective to the sub-objective, and write down this column and put the time limit over here, horizontal line, and mark the time limit for each objective or each task, and do the research according to this plan. Then resources. So provide details of the resources you will need to carry out your research projects. What significant resources are required for the success of your proposed project? So you need some resources, like if you are going to work on the satellite images, so you need some images. So how can you get that images? This is a problematic issue. So what is the source for that images? You have to identify your source. Okay, so there are some websites in which you can freely download the images. So this is also important part. Financial requirement, as we have discussed, includes a proposed budget for your research work. It gives an indication of how realistic your research proposal is in terms of financial requirement. If you take any project, or if you have planned for any project which is very costly, and you will, after 1 year or after 1.5 years, you will not get any grant from your university or from any agency, then your research work will not be carried out. So this is a problematic issue. So you have to analyze the budget requirement before starting the research. The last is bibliography. To provide a list of references that you have made throughout your research paper. If you are using any material from any website, any books, or any research paper, you have to cite that book, that paper, and that particular website in your research paper or in your thesis. Otherwise, you will go in the plagiarism and your thesis will reject it. Even after after getting your PhD degree, anyone can object for your thesis for not citing that paper. Now the conclusion is the well thought out plan saves time, provides structure for the study, reduces the probability of costly mistakes, and generally results in higher quality research. Part of good planning is anticipation. Try to anticipate potential problems that may arise, do what you can prevent them, and plan your strategies for dealing with them if they occur. So this is the conclusion of this presentation. Now I just want to give one advice to the young researchers. Always remember, this is especially for the PhD students. Always remember, supervisor has already faced the problem which you have facing now, and he is capable to overcome you from any difficult scenario. Always remember these points. Second one is, if supervisor provides the answer to your question, he will provide answer of one question. If supervisor not provide the answer to your question, you will search answers of many questions. So in first case, if supervisor provide you answer, you will feel your supervisor is very good. But if your supervisor is not providing answer, it may be possible you are not going to love that supervisor, but actually he loves you and he knows you are capable enough to search the answer. So always remember these things. These are my references here: Kothari, research methodology, methods and techniques, and some websites from where we have found I have found this material. Thank you. If you have any query, you can ask.
Participants, do you have any queries which you can address to the chief guest now?
Yeah, thank you, sir, for your wonderful presentation. My name is Sulaiman Ahmed. I'm research scholar. My question is, I would like to ask you about the research gap. You have mentioned in your presentation it could be nearly 10 to 12 years, right? Research gap. Can you hear me, sir?
Okay, okay, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I hear you. So, Suleiman, you are talking about the research gap. Actually,
yeah,
when you're doing your research literature review, then you have to write something about each and every paper. Okay, so like if may I know what is your field?
yeah, network security.
Network security. So when you go to your network security literature review, so first paper on network security you will found in the 1960, 1970 around. This
Yes.
is the year when you found the paper. But when you read that paper, you will found something is missing in that paper. That missing part is uh, tackled by the another paper which will comes around 1960 or 1965. So in this manner, you have to identify what is the missing part in each and every paper and who is the researcher who will take this opportunity to get the research. And you will found something which nobody uses in your research. So that is your research paper. Sorry,
Oh,
that is your research
research.
gap.
Yeah.
Okay, so after finding 10 to 12 research gaps, you will discuss with your supervisor because the he knows that subject or that topic well in advance, or you can say more than you. So he will guide you that if you he knows you as a researcher, he knows you personally, he also knows you, he knows your limitation. So according to that situation, he will provide you out of 12 or 10 research gaps, he will ask for the 3 or 4 research gaps as your objectives which are feasible in your conditions. Maybe like I am taking one example. If I have identified one research gap, okay, for to tackle that research gap or to do the research on that particular gap, we need some software, and the cost of that software is 50 lakh around. Your guide knows that we don't have a 50 lakh to solve this problem. So they will not choose, he will not choose that particular research gap because he knows the limitations. So that is why you have to identify 10 to 12 research gaps, and your guide will provide 3 to 4 according to the scenario, according to the limitation, whatever is the requirement of your PhD.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Is it clear to you?
Yeah, it's very clear. It's very clear.
Okay. Thank you.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Good evening, ma'am.
This is Elila Rasi. It is a really a wonderful presentation, and it is an eye-opener session for young researchers. Thank you for your presentation. And I
Thank you,
have
ma'am.
one question, sir.
Yeah.
In literature survey itself, we can do uh, the paper submission of papers, sir.
Yeah, yeah.
In that research paper itself, we should we show the identification of our problem.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh,
You can show the your problems,
what ah,
like you have identify some problems, and the last of your paper you can make a heading that future scopes.
ah.
In that part, you can write your research gaps.
Oh, research gap.
You will not write these gaps in the heading like research gap. Okay, your heading will
Okay,
be
sir.
the future scopes,
Ah,
and that in that particular heading of future scopes, you will provide your research gaps and your idea about about the literature.
okay. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, ma'am.
Um, so, a participant named Vishnupriya has put forth a doubt, sir. Where should we
Okay.
write the limitation of research methodology? Is it under the methodology part or under separate heading as limitations of study?
Okay. So the limitation of what? Limitation of methodology. So it will comes under the methodology part.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay. Any other questions?
Okay, thank you, dear participants.
Yeah, one
Thank
last
you,
question,
sir.
ma'am. Sorry to interrupt. My name
Yeah.
is Bharti Raja. I am from industry background. I'm working for Infosys Limited, Chennai. Hello, sir. Thanks for your session. It was really wonderful. My question is like, being a technical person, if I get into the research area, do I need to, what is the scale of understanding the domain part? Say, example, if I am being a technical person on this computer vision and AI, so if I want to do my research with medical image processing, what is the limitation or the domain knowledge of the medical side I should get into?
Okay. Sorry, I forgot your name,
Bharti Raja, sir.
Bharti Raja. Okay. So actually, this is my personal understanding that in PhD you have to do the hard work only, because you have certain books, certain papers, lots of papers, and lot of resources. So you please don't bother about the limitation of your scenario. Either you are in the industry or wherever you are. If you are trying to do something in the research, you will definitely get something, some fruitful results.
Okay, sir.
Biomedical images,
Okay.
you can refer the digital image processing book, especially Gonzalez. So
Okay.
in that book, you can find all the techniques and all the methodology which you can use on biomedical images, and this is a very interesting topic.
The reference, I'll definitely look into the book.
Okay, thank you.
So we have a last question from a participant, sir.
Yeah, ma'am.
He's Mr. Bala Gurunathan Armugham. He's asking how many papers can be reviewed in a minimal limit for starting a research. For starting a research. I'm sorry, sir. How many papers can be reviewed in a minimal limit for starting a research?
Okay. Actually, this is there is no limit type of things, but when you just go to the Google and search some literature review papers, you will find that all the research papers that are literature review have at least 200 to 250 publications in reference. Because you are going to literature review, you are going to tell the rest of the world that this is the problem which is not tackled by anyone. To say this word, this line, you have to go through the lots of papers. You may be 300, 400 papers in your particular area. Actually, this is dependent over the subject area also.
Thank you, sir. Dear participants, if you have any other queries, maybe you can message us and we'll be replying it to you through your mail. This is being done due to the time constraints. Thank you. And thank you, sir. We really feel privileged to have attended your session on research in which each concept was concentrated and explained clearly with precision from the scratch. Thank you, sir, for endowing the scholarly participants with your words of wisdom and experience.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Yes. Dear participants, the feedback link is being sent in the chat box and the errors are being rectified. You can give your feedback in the same. Thanks, though, is a 6-letter word. It is a telltale of a head that bows only in front of those who are worthy of its deference. May I request our Vice Principal, Sir, Dr. M. Bhaskaran, to express his note of gratitude to the gathering.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Good evening to all. Guest of honor, Dr. Anurag Vidyatri, distinguished guests, delegates, ladies and gentlemen, and my dear colleagues. It's an honor to have been asked to offer the vote of thanks on this special occasion. On behalf of my college and the entire management, here I express my hearty gratitude to the special invitee for the day, Dr. Anurag Vidyarthi, for sharing his words of knowledge and experience with us in today's session. We have been fortunate to have one of the renowned identity from the academic and research field with us today. Thank you, sir. I would like to thank the college management for their support in making this conference possible. They have realized and felt the importance of imbibing good values and practices early in our young researchers. Starting at the undergraduate level, I am sure that our college will continue to get significant provisions in the future too. Thank you, ma'am. In addition, we have received immense support from our principal, Dr. B. Gunalan, who has set the wheels rolling for this webinar with his excellent planning and coordination. Thank you, sir. It has been our tribute to host all the members and audience of the session. I am thankful to the participants for coming here and attending the first day of the webinar, making it special. In closing, I encourage delegates to participate actively in the interesting discussion over the next 4 days. At this juncture, I would like to take this opportunity to thank the organizing committee chaired by Dr. M. Nagarajan, who is widely acknowledged as an expert in this area and has been instrumental in putting together the conference program. Wishes to the planning committee with Dr. Ranjit, Dr. Sagadevan, and Mrs. Jaitun Bibi for their hard work and effort in planning and coordinating this event. I hope that this 5-day webinar serves as a platform for thought leaders, academicians, and researchers to enrich their ideas and views on research, which may in turn inspire new and practicable researchers in the future. Heartiest congratulations to all my dear colleagues and all the well-wishers. This conference would not have proved to be beneficial to this extent without your support. I would also like to acknowledge the support rendered by the technical team and all the unfortunate helping hands pillaring the success and webinar series. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And once again, I thank our special guests for gracing this occasion and all the participants for making the session special. Do join us tomorrow at 6:30 for the continuation of today's topic. We'll meet tomorrow. You can fill the feedback link. It'll be sent. The link for tomorrow's session will be sent in the WhatsApp group. Thank you.